Right now, I would like to introduce our first panel, which we're very excited about. This panel will talk about how public and private investments are growing exponential growth for the life science industry despite our current economic challenges, and they're not going to last forever. What new initiatives are furthering innovation in the greater New York metro area and what this means for the economy. We'll also focus on private sector macro trends driving industry growth and a map where concentrated development is happening, as well as a forecast for future opportunities. Our moderator is Michael DiChiara, Senior Partner, Zetlin and DiChiara. And our speakers are Cara Moore, Sector Lead, Life Sciences, Strategic Sector Development from the New Jersey EDA. She will be participating virtually this morning. Deborah Novick, Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation in Westchester County. Monica Maloney, MPH, Vice President, Life Sciences and Healthcare, the New Jersey Economic Development Corporation. Loretta Bine, Senior Director, Industry Development and International Trade Manager, New York Empire State Development, and Matt Ware, Executive Vice President, Taconic Partners, and President, Elevate Research Properties.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah, hear you now. Okay. So, of course, we're the most important panel, and we're going to be the most informative, and we're going to try to have a little bit of fun. And the idea here is to get the panel engaged in a conversation about various topics. We're going to start with each panel member spending a few minutes giving you some information sort of generically in terms of what they do. And then my job is going to be to try to foster some sort of conversation that hopefully will be informative. Just sort of in general, you know, New York is going through an interesting period. And one of the really bright spots, I think one of many, because I'm an inveterate New Yorker, but one of the bright spots is the future of this sector, life sciences, and how it's going to change the landscape in New York, and I believe it really will. So with that, let me turn to our panel. We're just going to go sequentially down the line, and then we'll do New Jersey. You get to go last, New Jersey, because you're not here. First in our hearts, but last on the panel. All right, so,
you want to start with me?
Yeah, let's start with you.
Okay, so I'm Deborah Novick, and as Nancy said, I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation in Westchester County. And the life sciences is one of our core priority sectors in the county. And so we work very hard to convene the people who are active in the life sciences, bring them together, spotlight what they're doing. And there's really a lot going on in Westchester County, which for a long time I think nobody really knew, except for maybe the people who knew about Regeneron. So Regeneron is clearly the largest life sciences company that we have in Westchester, and they have about 3,000 employees right now, and many drugs in the market, many drugs in development, very exciting, and they've also announced a substantial expansion, which will add another 1,000 jobs over the next 6 years. So we're really, really thrilled about that. And you know, I think what that demonstrates is that there's a depth of life sciences talent in Westchester, and of course in the whole metro New York area. We're all sharing the talent pool in this commuting region. But what people may not know is some of the other exciting things that are happening in Westchester. So for example, we have the Westchester Medical Center there, which right now has over 100 clinical trials that are enrolling patients, not to mention the however many there are that are full and ongoing. There's a cell and gene therapy manufacturing facility there and research facility, which is very exciting, given something that Loretta is going to mention in a little while. But I think cell and gene therapy is a really exciting area for the state and for patients. And we're so glad to be active in that area. New York Medical College, which is on the same campus as Westchester Medical Center and is one of the oldest medical schools in the country, recently renovated some of their labs, expanding to 17,000 square feet of additional lab space, state-of-the-art, and that's in addition to the physical incubator of labs and wet labs, dry labs, and office space that's on the same campus, where we recently had 2 companies graduate. And so that's a very exciting milestone for the incubator. We run an accelerator program. The county runs it, the Westchester County Biosciences Accelerator Program. We have had 41 different ventures go through that program, and we're taking in a new cohort right now. And we're very proud that 41% of the alumni of that program have already raised either seed capital or taken in non-dilutive funding. I think, am I going too long?
No, it's okay.
Can I say 1 or 2 more things?
Fortunately, what you're saying is both substantive and interesting.
Oh, good. Thank goodness. Another thing that I'm really proud about is the interest all around the county in expanding STEM education. I think this is really, really important for continuing to have the talent pool that the region will need to excel in life sciences and other tech sectors. And we recently pulled together a large consortium of schools, training programs, graduate schools, people working in STEM education at every level, including the most basic digital literacy and digital access. And there's just so much interest among those organizations and schools to learn from each other and expand their offerings. And I think that really is going to set us up for a lot of activity in these scientific fields over the next many years. And then on the real estate front, we do have the North 80 on the drawing board. This is an 80-acre ground-up development life sciences campus that is nearing its last round of approvals, and we're very excited that they will soon be getting shovels in the ground and starting to take tenants onto that property. And that will be really needed for the growth of life sciences right in our region. And just one last thing, we have a research institute, Burke Neurological Research Institute. We have a lot of neurological startups as well in the region, and they're also conducting clinical trials. Right now, I think they have 6 that are recruiting participants. They focus entirely on neurological brain injury, stroke, things like that. And we're very thrilled with how things are coming together and how people are getting more collaborative. And we'll yield the
Deborah.
floor to my next panelist.
Good. Deborah, thank you. Everybody else has 15 seconds now.
I asked if I
Joking,
should
just-
stop.
Well, I'll keep my comments short.
No.
Thanks, Deborah.
Seriously, I don't want anybody to feel, just say what you have to say, because everyone's here to hear what you have to say.
Okay, all right. So I'm Monica Maloney. I'm with the New York City Economic Development Corporation. So we are the economic development agency for New York City, and we also manage New York City's real estate assets. So a lot of the tools in our toolbox for economic development are real estate related. I specifically support our LifeSci NYC initiative. This is a $1 billion plus mayoral initiative to make New York City a global leader in the life sciences. We have 3 sort of main pillars to that initiative. So the first is really building clusters of life sciences activity. So you think about Kips Bay, West Harlem, the west and east corridors of Manhattan, Brooklyn waterfront, Morris Park, Long Island City. So really building up those clusters of activity in New York City for the life sciences. And then our second pillar is really strengthening the workforce for the life sciences industry. And similarly, we're really thinking starting from the very beginning with STEM education. So earlier this year, we announced $700,000 in support for an organization called BioBus, which they actually outfit buses as labs and drive them to schools. So the entire classrooms of kids can get on and work with really state-of-the-art microscopes and things like that. It's an amazing organization that's been around for a long time, and we're helping them to expand their work in the Bronx. And then the third pillar of our work is really creating this critical mass of life sciences activity in the city. And we measure that in terms of the number of R&D biotech companies in New York City. Our metrics are number of companies, jobs, and square footage that we're building for the life sciences industry in New York City. And I'll just highlight 2 things that happened in the same week. They happened 2 weeks ago. One is more general, but we celebrated in New York City a record all-time number of jobs in New York City. So we have about 4.7 million jobs in New York City, all-time high. And we've recovered the million jobs that were lost during the COVID pandemic. So that was awesome to celebrate. And it came on the heels, actually, of another incredible announcement, which was the Chan Zuckerberg BioHub New York, which is coming to New York City. And we're just incredibly excited about that. New York City and New York State are both supporting the BioHub. I'm sure we're going to talk more about that project later, but we're very excited about that. So I'll pass to Loretta.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Nancy, for giving us all the chance to speak to you guys and let you know what we do that can help you grow your business or just help you work in the industry. So Loretta Bine, I work at Empire State Development, and Empire State Development is the New York State Economic Development Agency. So when companies are looking to grow or we want to attract somebody from out of state to New York, we might be able to give them some economic development incentives to help reduce the cost of doing business here and to help them grow their jobs and industry here. So that's sort of the goal of our agency, to create wealth in New York State. We have 10 offices across New York State. I work in the Long Island office, but I cover the life sciences across New York State. And we have other people in other industries that work in my division, and they cover maybe nanotechnology or film and television, but I get to work in the life sciences, which is really fun and interesting because when you're talking to people in this sector, they're making a difference in patients' lives, and that's what we all want to see at the end of the day. So we all work together very well in the past and in the future. New Jersey, Westchester, New York City, all of New York State is, we cover all of the regions that you guys are working within. Okay, so maybe not New Jersey, but, but the goal is to bring talent and innovation here to the Northeast and to be competitive sector for the industry to grow.
Oh, thank you, Carol.
Good morning. I'm Matthew Weir. I'm with a firm, Taconic Partners, a New York City-based developer, owner-operator here in the city that develops all sorts of commercial and residential. Under our subsidiary company, Elevate Research Properties, we currently have 3 life science projects here in Manhattan, totaling just under 1 million square feet. 2 are operational, the Hudson Research Center and West End Labs, which just opened about 12 weeks ago. And we have a 3rd project in development and construction. That's Iron Horse Labs on the east side of Manhattan. And then we have a pipeline deal in Kips Bay. So all told, we have 4 projects here in the city, totaling 1.4 million square feet, which makes us the largest private developer of lab space here, and a total projected capital commitment of around $2 billion. So this is, every year when I and the company participate in events like this, we look back and see kind of how far things have come, and we're obviously very excited, and you said it, Michael, as to where the trajectory for New York City and the region, where this ultimately takes us over the coming years.
Great. Kara, you're up.
Hello. Thank you for including me in this panel, and I appreciate being able to come in virtually as I'm a little under the weather and wanted to keep everyone safe. I'm Kara Moore, Sector Lead for Life Sciences at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, similar to at Empire State Development, working to grow New Jersey life science companies across our state and create good jobs. We have many financial products available similar to Empire State, but we're seeing many growth opportunities for North New Jersey, that area, and believe, as Loretta and the panel are probably seeing, people attracted to this location because of the talent. We have immense talent that's blending right now with tech and life sciences is a trend we're seeing, and many of those companies wanting to be in more urban areas like Jersey City, where 95 Green is one of our areas that's getting many leases signed, some that haven't been yet announced, but very exciting news coming for 95 Green, and a very exciting development in Jersey City of SciTech City, which is at Liberty Science Center, and a STEM high school. I heard many of the panelists mention the ability for educating our students and talent. This is a magnet school with 400 students from Hudson County that will start in 2025, grades 9 through 12. And next door to that high school will be an incubator space focused on digital health. And so that blend of digital and life sciences is certainly a trend that we're seeing in New Jersey and across the region. And when you read the reports about our region as New York and New Jersey together, it's a strong area for life sciences. And while we're across state lines, I think there's benefits of working together to make sure our region is attractive for international companies to set up their U.S. headquarters or West Coast companies to set up their East Coast location. So I'm looking forward to this discussion. Thank you for including me.
So, sitting back and looking at the landscape, right? New York has always been a special place. New Jersey, when I say New York, I'm talking about the greater New York area, right? So think about it as the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut region, although Connecticut's not here today. What is it that makes New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, let's call it the tri-state region to be politically correct, what makes this region so vibrant? And who are our big competitors? Historically, I guess Massachusetts had a really vibrant presence in this area. I don't know that there's anything that's competitive on the West Coast. If there is, I'm really not up on it. If it's in the San Francisco area,
We don't think
LA
there's
area.
anything out there either.
Yeah, right. But what is it? I mean, I know from a real estate construction perspective what makes New York special. And I think I know from a Wall Street perspective, which is you get the best and brightest young minds want to be in this area, right? So the demographic 25 to 45 has always been attracted. And the city's set up to bring that demographic in, which is why all the Wall Street firms have historically had their operations here, because that's the fodder, that's the fuel for that industry. I assume it's going to be exactly the same for this area. And does that really give us a huge competitive edge going forward? What's your perspective on that?
I think absolutely. I think our talent is unmatched that we have in this region. We have just incredible numbers of STEM graduate students that come out of our universities in our region that are really the fuel for this entire industry. We have the most Nobel laureates in the world in New York City and the region. So I think science and technology are really the foundation for this industry, and having that strong STEM talent is what makes all of our work possible, right? It's what makes the industry possible. So I think 100% our talent is really unmatched and unbeatable.
I would
And
say,
go ahead.
well, I would say, we always talk about the melting pot and how diverse the population is. I think one of the things that's not often included in that notion of the melting pot or the diversity is the diversity of the industries where we're very strong. You mentioned Wall Street and real estate. We're talking about, I think we're #1 in the country for STEM graduates and STEM graduate degrees. And there's such a huge entertainment industry here. I think the vibrancy of so many industries is what continues to attract people to New York. And because so many life sciences specialties turn out to be interdisciplinary, Kara mentioned tech and digital health blending into maybe the more traditional therapeutics development. The fact that we've got people with skills in so many exciting industries where actually they probably will cross over in ways we can't imagine, I think that strengthens the whole fabric.
I mean, those are really great points. And to add to that is a little bit of spouses' jobs. So you're coming here to New York for a technology job, and there's plenty of other spouses' jobs. There's manufacturing sectors throughout New York State and the tri-state area. There are, like you were mentioning, film and television and everything in between. Also, we have a great university system, not just our, first grade to high school, through high school, but we have 62 campuses of SUNY or CUNY opportunities for people to attend, you know, and get an education at a reasonable cost. Not to mention going to the private schools and being associated with the hospital system here. Having those attributes and the diversity of the population, there are a great many areas throughout New York State that can host clinical trials, things like that, that you know, all parts of the sector that are represented.
Yeah, and just to add to that, you know, this is one kind of question or topic where it's applicable to all the jurisdictions that are represented here. The New York, New Jersey MSA is the largest life science workforce in the country. We're producing STEM grads. We've got in the city 9 major academic medical centers. So the talent pool is for us what makes the investment opportunity attractive here. You look back and you say, with all of that in place, why have we still not grown or started to approach the growth of other markets? And obviously, and we'll get into this more, but there are several pieces of the formula that need to come together. But I think number one, it starts with the foundational elements, which is the workforce. Michael, you mentioned the draw of talent to New York City, and you know, if that was a question during COVID, anyone that gets around by car here in Manhattan post Labor Day, I think we'd all agree that the city has taken yet another step up. Obviously, that's true as well of subway ridership. The apartment market here, the rental apartment market is at an all-time high. All of these things tell you that generally New York City is back. Job numbers, you know, I'd say across the board, we're very bullish for the recovery of New York, even relative to other markets, which cannot tell the same story yet. So that's the general, and then as it relates to life science, again, it's all about workforce, talent draw, the academic medical centers, and that's a regional sort of reality, which I think bodes well for, again, years to come.
Right, so what do you see as some of the challenges, right? I mean, we can, because it's fairly easy to see what the attractions are, right? But one of the things that disturb me is I see the growth of areas like Florida, areas like Tennessee, areas like Texas that all have one thing in common: no taxes. They have something else in common: relatively low prices for that demographic that's so critical to New York's health, 25 to 45, to actually own property, right? Or to live at a reduced rate. And counterbalancing that is the vibrancy of this region, right? So I was out to dinner with Mitch last night, and afterwards we're smoking cigars at some place that's obviously not a place you want to promote in a life sciences meeting. But it was interesting because I was chatting with some 30-year-olds, and I was sort of positing, gee, what do you think about the region? And it turned out of the 3, 2 had folks who had moved to Florida, and they go down there and they really don't like it, right? They go down there and they sort of, oh my God, we have to, you know, want to see my folks, but a week down here you can like shoot me. And they couldn't wait to get back to New York, and I was so happy to hear that, right? Now, I don't know if it's the same reaction in Austin. I haven't spent enough time there. I don't really have a feel for that. I went to school in Nashville, so I have a much better feel for Nashville. They're competitors, but they're much smaller. They're not on the map yet. Do you see that as a longer-term threat, and how do we deal with that? Do we have to push, and this is where you get synergies, do we have to push housing, you know, availability of housing, availability of low-cost education, and some sort of relief for the younger generation so that we can continue and we can get to that critical point where, you know, we'll become unstoppable?
The governor is talking a lot about housing and the issues that to be able to retire here, and that hasn't been on the agenda for New York State for many, many years. So I'm not sure how the citizens feel about that, but across the board, you know, it's a long-term initiative. You're not going to change things in a day. But that's another reason why New Jersey and New York and the local jurisdictions put together programs to reduce the cost of doing business here, and maybe that's a refundable tax credit, or grants to help you reduce the cost of bringing in new employees. So we do see it for industry, and we respond to it, but in the personal side for, your homeowner's tax and the other taxes that you're paying in New York State, you have to be tough to make it here. But on the other side, we do have programs. There's a program called Startup New York. I think that the legislature doesn't love that program, and we're going to review it and maybe change some aspects of it. But one of the attributes of being in that program for a small business is that even their employees don't pay personal income tax. So
Wow.
I know that's neat, right? Even if you don't have a huge salary, you just don't have to pay personal income tax. That's nice. So we've been hearing all of these things, and we're trying to feed back and build programs, I'm sure like New Jersey is as well, to answer this response.
Yeah, Kara, it's time we have to get you to chime in because we can't not include our good neighbor.
I appreciate New Jersey being included. And yes, I agree. Some creative programs. We just launched an evergreen fund, $600 million to invest in New Jersey companies where we'll match venture funding to $6.25 million, which we think, especially in today's market, we've approved 10 qualified venture firms for this program that startups can tap into. And you mentioned these other locations, like I'm thinking Research Triangle, San Diego, come up on the list as hubs. And we hear, and I'm sure the people on the panel here, as talking to companies, having access to the whole commercialization ecosystem and the talent are needs that these companies have. And what hasn't been mentioned is the location, the prime location of our region of travel across internationally and having access at JFK and Newark for these companies, and the ability to get to DC quickly and Boston by rail. I think we're just in this super location for companies, and the ecosystem of pharma being built, especially across New Jersey, where we have a lot of startups of ex-pharma guys that end up starting their own company in our region. And then this blend of new technology along with it. We just started an AI task force at the governor level, and we're diving into how AI is being leveraged across our life sciences, with companies like BMS and J&J. So I think with the talent and especially the diverse industries, I think Loretta mentioned film and media and then all the other sectors that our region covers makes it very attractive. We're not just a one sector region, and so that creates that diversity.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to understand and to have a sense of how vibrant this area is, has been, and will be, right? So with that, that's a great segue into, let's talk about some of these up and coming projects, or probably some of them have up and come. Let's start with Kips Bay. Who wants to chat about Kips Bay?
Sure, I can talk about Spark Kips Bay. So this is the redevelopment of the CUNY Brookdale campus in Kips Bay into, I hope I'm going to get my numbers right, I think a 1.5 million square foot science park and research campus. That's what Spark stands for. That will include several CUNY colleges. It will include a DOE high school. It will include a health and hospitals ambulatory center. And will also include one or two significant life sciences commercial towers on the property. So we will be, I don't have too much to share because we're actually on sort of the eve of releasing the master plan, which will have sort of more information about the master plan for the campus. But I think it's just a really unique opportunity for, to take advantage of the fact that you're going to have the colleges there and the high school, and really thinking, we keep talking about the talent, to really think about what a pipeline into the industry can look like on that campus. I think there's so much opportunity. And also thinking about, these intersections with technology that we keep talking about, right? So I think it could be, an AI/ML campus, or, some other sort of like emerging technology where we're seeing, an intersection with life sciences. And I think I think my boss, Sue, is going to be talking about sort of our tech-forward life sciences strategy later. So I'll just, give you a little
So-
tease there.
When we talk about Kips Bay, this new to me, right? Is that big lot right by the UN? It's that huge thing?
It's farther south than that, so it's in the upper 20s on the east side, so on the East River. So Bellevue is there,
Is that-
Alexandria is there, Taconic, the development Matt talked about.
That's the site where there was that big power plant that was there?
You're talking about the Con Ed,
Yeah, the old Con Ed site?
North of that.
yeah.
North of that, but south of the other one. It's there, but and how much land are we talking about, roughly?
You know the answer?
So the Spark is, I think you're right, it's around
About
1.5
million.
million feet. Our project is across the street. It's not part of Spark, but that's another 500,000 feet. You combine that with what ARE has, which I think all told is 1.5 million feet
Yeah.
unto itself.
So up to 3 million so far.
Yeah, and to me, what's really exciting about this, we talk about the challenges of New York City specific to life science. You mentioned it earlier. New York is known, if you take a step back, financial capital of the world, media and tech, fashion, a number of different sectors that have all competed for land, for building opportunities with life science. One of the things we believe that we need as a city to take the next step for that sector is in its branding. We need people outside of New York to start thinking of New York City more as a life science destination. When you have this conversation casually, it's of course Boston, it's San Francisco and the like. So Spark to me, given its scale, but also given and it's come up a few times here, the education of the workforce over the long term. So you've got a high school, you've got trade schools, you've got the higher education all happening on one site adjacent to a dense commercial lab, and you've got the major academic medical center there with Langone. So to me, that's a powerhouse sort of area that has a couple of different headlines that will come out of this. But I think that'll take those projects will be a big step forward for New York City as a whole in terms of more international brand recognition specific to research.
Yeah, it's
And
just,
what you did, really, and what New York City is doing, investing in the real estate so that a life sciences company could come here and the risk isn't as great. Where years ago, every dime came out of the company to build out that space.
Yeah.
So the risk has been reduced by these brave souls. and
Personally.
it's coming out to be a benefit for everyone. Companies can move faster and they're not spending all their money on infrastructure, which their board doesn't want them to do that.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, there's a number of elements that go into a formula. Talent, one. Training the workforce, two. Real estate, of course, in this area has real estate specific for research has been limited. You're starting to see some of that supply deliver now, and in the past you had companies that maybe were formed here, spun out of our local academic institutions, but had to go elsewhere. So all of these ingredients need to come together, which they have done significantly relative to, as we were having these discussions 6-7 years ago. Compared to then, we've taken major steps forward. As I said, sort of to me, we now have to promote, and I think New York as a brand needs to take a step forward more broadly, internationally even.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a benefit to have so many industries in our region, right? To have film and TV and to have finance. And actually, I think people forget we're the second largest tech economy in the world. So it's great that we have all these other industries, but I do think that it can hurt us sometimes in terms of just the visibility of the life sciences. And so that's something that we're actively thinking about is how can we make this industry more visible to New Yorkers and to the region so that people can really see themselves in this industry. So that's just something that we're thinking
That's
about.
really important, and one of the things you often hear about the Boston ecosystem is about the density. Everybody's in Kendall Square, and we know now that they've had to expand much more broadly because of traffic and rents and overcrowding. But I think one of the interesting challenges, even just on Manhattan Island, setting aside the whole region, is you've got so many neighborhoods with individual life science density, but like this Spark project with you across the street and the hospital and the medical school, that's just one subcluster. So I think it's tricky because we would like to brand the whole region as a successful life sciences region, and also each of these subclusters wants to brand themselves. So I don't know what the solution is there, but I think we do need to all be working on the visibility and the branding, and we've each got a slightly different story to tell, but somehow we need some overlapping talking
specialization
points
or-
that,
Yeah.
that make it possible for people to start to recognize that it really is a dense region with tons of opportunity and space and the full ecosystem.
Well, you
New
need,
York City Planning had that report about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And, that put us on the map. People were surprised to see that we were doing so well in job numbers and companies and real estate, actually. So I think if we continue to advance those initiatives, talking to people, things like this today and getting the word out. This Chan Zuckerberg thing, everybody pays attention to what Mark Zuckerberg is doing.
well, we probably need, so in the real estate construction and design industries, we have this thing called the Building Congress. And it's an organization that brings these diverse interests together, and so you find commonality, and you have programs and initiatives. And it sounds like maybe we need something like that driven by the private sector that has participation from the public sector. And you lead sort of industry-wide initiatives. Let's talk about Chan Zuckerberg. What is that?
So the Chan Zuckerberg BioHub New York, it is one in a network of these biomedical research institutes that the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, which is the philanthropic organization started by Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan, who's a trained pediatrician. They started this foundation to really fund cutting edge, really ambitious research projects that just can't be funded through traditional means because they take a long time. They're looking at 10 to 15 year time horizon. And they're, the science reads like Fantastic Voyage. It's very, very high tech. So the Chan Zuckerberg BioHub New York, CZ BioHub New York, the focus of the science there is going to be on bioengineering the cells of the immune system to sense and treat incipient disease. So, detecting disease at a much earlier stage and then actually engineering the cells of the immune system to address that disease, maybe even before, the effects are felt. So it's very, very cool science. Chan Zuckerberg Initiative is investing $250 million over 10 years into this biohub, and then both New York City and New York State each are investing an additional $10 million each into the biohub. It will be in Manhattan. We don't know precisely where yet, but it's being led by, speaking of a regional play, it's being led by Columbia, Rockefeller, and Yale. So we have gotten so much interest in this project since the announcement 2 weeks ago, and it's exactly what you're talking about. It's attracting so much interest from a really diverse group of different types of stakeholders in the industry. So I think everyone is really pumped.
Yeah, we need
Monica,
to.
what will it be? A building, a
So it'll
campus
be
with an
a
incubator?
25 to
or-
35,000 square feet of space for scientific discovery.
The
So it'll be
earliest
in
stage, like academic.
So there'll be
translation, or-
basic and translational research happening there. The idea is to be developing tools and technologies that can translate to cures and treatments.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to be outsourcing a lot of stuff and
Yeah.
probably supporting a lot of stuff. And while I love what they're doing, I really do, they should add a zero to that, and it would really be good, and maybe even 2 zeros.
Well, what has happened in San Francisco is that they have continued to invest. That was the first biohub, and they have more than doubled their investment in that biohub. So I think it's possible that
Right,
the
and we need to
investment will
get we need to
continue.
get some institution from New Jersey to be part of that.
Can I just say quickly that, because this is the real bragging point, that I keep saying how we all work so well together. And so Sue Rosenthal from LifeSci called ESD and said, this is happening. There is an RFP, and we need to answer this. So Empire State Development, New York Life Sciences Initiative, and LifeSci put together the response to the RFP. And with all of the technology, university, and assets that we have in New York State, they took us seriously. So this was a win. This was a broad, across the U.S. opportunity, and we won it.
Yeah, I mean, there were almost 60 different competing applications, 30 different cities, so.
And unlike what we said about Spark, how these are the types of announcements that put New York on the map.
Yeah.
There's 3 of these right now. When Chicago was named, many of us thought that was it, and that was national news, not national life science news, not national real estate news. That was big news. This is much the same, and so another major sort of headline for the sector, and that's how we look at it, is no matter where it goes, this is a win for everybody.
Absolutely, I think
Look,
that's exactly right.
When people in this region act cooperatively, right, and they put their heads together in a positive way, nobody could compete with us, right? And we've seen that, but that it has to start here. It starts with organizations like this and your various institutions. So we're down to our final, supposedly 4 minutes, but who knows? What I'd like to do is throw this open. If anybody has any questions, you can ask questions of anybody except for me. You've got these people here, they're fabulous. We've got New Jersey, you know, and any questions you might have. Okay, a bunch of shy folks. What do we have?
It's early in the morning. Oh, there's one.
Kara, I was wondering if you could speak to some of the larger projects that's going on in New Jersey that could really support the greater New York City ecosystems?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. And I want to applaud New York on the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. I think while New Jersey's not intimately involved in that project, I think it will be a boom for the region. And the cell and gene therapy work that's happening from Philly all throughout New Jersey to the New York region. And so we have many projects. I think you're going to hear about Nest later today from Onyx Equities. And Dr. Perlin will be speaking from Hackensack about the Metropolitan NIH grant that he's working alongside New York institutions as well. So I think that's a great cooperative effort there. There's also a very, very interesting project in New Brunswick, the Helix, that will be standing up similar to what you see in the Cambridge area, where we'll have the Rutgers Medical School located there, Princeton University, Hackensack Meridian, RWJ Barnabas, translational research from bench to bedside with incubator companies and even a venture row of venture firms to be located inside that location. And so that will be standing up in 2025. And then I mentioned earlier SciTech City. We're very excited. Sheba Medical Center will be an incubator tenant at the Edgeworks facility to show the hospital of the future. They'll be doing a pop-up here in early November at Liberty Science Center if you're interested in learning more about what Sheba will be putting forth here in Jersey City. So we're very excited and looking forward. I know I don't yet necessarily get to talk to my New York counterparts all that much, but any ways we can collaborate to boost this region, I am more than welcome to ideas.
Any other questions, or have we exhausted you this morning? Yes.
Thank you. It's not really a question, it's more of a comment. So I was born in Trenton, raised in New York, and I now live in Pennsylvania. I was up here on a train in 60 minutes. The entire region is really interconnected. Last year I was in Israel, and I had just missed Governor Murphy. So Murphy was there, really from the top of the house in New Jersey, talking about an investment for Israeli technology and life science companies to come to the U.S. And I think politicians come and go, right? But if you can get that drumbeat from the top and get these true public-private partnerships, you're going to have some success. The last comment I would make is, you mentioned Spark. There was a different kind of Spark in Philly, right? Spark Therapeutics. Started out 15, 12, 13 years ago, spun out of CHOP. No one gave it much of a shot. It was acquired by Roche for $4 billion. What New York needs is a win, a big commercial win. And that will create a real magnetic pull towards being here, because people follow the money, but more importantly, people follow the wins. And eventually, I think you'll get here with the ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so in the final 10 or 15 seconds, I'd like to thank our panel, both those who are here and those who are virtually here. And you've been a wonderful audience, and thank you for coming. And I look forward to the rest of the day. Thank you very much.